Good afternoon. My name's Tom, and today we're continuing on. Excuse me. We're continuing on the emergency bag setup videos. So, here is the first aid kit mounted to my bag. Now, I've discussed before that while I generally avoid tactical nonsense for emergency prepping, this is an occasion where I think a MOLLE-webbed bag is a good idea because it gives you extra storage. And the nice thing about having your first aid kit mounted to the outside of your bag, if you get one that's meant for MOLLE compatible stuff, you undo that retraining strap, you grab the handle on the top, and it comes off the Velcro mounting patch. Now, I open her up, and again, if it's a good design, it opens all the way up so you can lay it out, and everything that you put in here is laid out and organized for you, and you don't have to dump everything out looking for stuff. Now, your basic antiseptics, alcohol wipes, maybe some burn cream, gauze pads, adhesive bandages, rolled gauze, tape, that's all basic stuff. And as basic as it might seem, I suggest you take a first aid CPR and AED class anyway. Because, you know what? You might learn a thing or two about wrapping up an injured limb that way. You know, how to use your rolled gauze. Then we can get, once you have that, because that's the baseline training, you can move on to more advanced classes like bleed stop or trauma. And again, those are classes you should take. You do not want to just watch YouTube videos on how to use this stuff and then use it, because that's not the same as training. What I say to you on the internet is not training. I can give you a perspective from the place of a person who has been trained, but I'm not qualified to teach you how to apply a tourniquet or anything like that. So, that being said, and this is why for emergencies a bleed stop course is a good idea, chainsaws are a very useful tool post-hurricane, post-earthquake, and so the problem with chainsaws is an elevated risk of severe injuries. So with that in mind, you may need to actually consider tourniquets. Now, option one, generally the most modern and considered the best way to do it, would be a CAT tourniquet. And yes, the name brand CAT tourniquet is a bit more expensive, but it's highly effective when it's used properly by a trained individual, and supposedly it provides a decent window in which the affected limb can be saved. Once a tourniquet's applied, the clock is ticking and an amputation might be necessary. Your other option for this, and this is kind of old school and barbaric, and I'm not sure if this is taught anymore, a triangle bandage. Now, I am definitely not applying a triangle bandage tourniquet when I have one of these handy, but if I had to, I could. And the problem with that, though, is this takes a lot longer than the CAT. And I wasn't talking about you, Gracie. And it causes a lot of soft tissue damage when properly applied. And there's very little chance of saving the limb once you use one of these properly. I do keep them handy, though, because you know what? They're the most versatile bandage out there. You got to wrap a head wound. Triangle bandages go around the head really easily. You can improvise a sling out of it for a busted arm. You can use it as lashings to apply a splint to a broken bone or a sprained ankle. And if you have enough of them, you can use them as lashings for an improvised stretcher. So even though you really don't want to use these for a tourniquet, they have 1,000,001 uses. They're really great. Now, the last thing you sometimes see, especially when people are doing tactical prepping, is chest seals. And frankly, I don't know that that's really something you need to worry about post-disaster. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room, but I wouldn't expect you'd need it. Now, if you're a teacher in a school, then maybe you might want to consider having some chest seals in your emergency bag. But for, your fire, flooding, hurricane type, or earthquake type emergencies, you probably don't need chest seals. So, there you go. There's my perspective on things. And like I said, although I'm not a fan of tactical, sometimes military gear or military style gear does have its purpose in your emergency bag. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and have a great day.